We are live. We are live to go over Forbidden Door and all the Forbidden Door coverage. We'll be talking about all the matches, given our predictions and previews. It's going to be a long night. We might even get into some hot topics that have come up in the wrestling world. So let's get started. Like I said, we are live for your Forbidden Door preview and predictions. It is myself tonight, and Big Nick will be going over all of the matches on the card. Like I said, I am Ringsider Anthony, and that is Big Nick.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the Wrestling for Life Network proudly brings to you its YouTube tag stream champions of the world, the chapeau that runs the show, Ringsider Anthony. I am Big Nick, and yes, we are the Wrestling for Life Network. Good old KJ White Mister every night's, off on parts unknown right now. So you got me and Anthony rocking with you. We got the Chapeau Show, the Hat World Order taking over. But yeah, we're going over Forbidden Door, my guy. I'll ask you this, and I'll ask the chat and everybody, as I see about 40 people kicking it with us and everything. Shout out everybody in the chat. Are you excited for Forbidden?
They just have Forbidden Door match, right? But with AEW, I feel like they're trying to weave them in the stories, and that's like every year. But this year, I feel like it's just not working out, and I think it's just kind of like matches just thrown together to call it a pay-per-view with people from other companies.
Well, with doing the whole crossover, cross-promotional pay-per-view and everything, it does get challenging because you've either got to blend it into the stories, which, I mean, kind of works for them a bit because, I mean, they don't tell stories great, but they have, like I said, half the roster that they had at the first Forbidden Door is now signed to the company. Right. So they're going to still see them next week, which takes away from the pay-per-view. And otherwise, it's just kind of a really great showcase for matches, but doing it every year, just kind of like, I've seen people compare it to the Rumble, to what was the other one? Oh, Survivor Series, a bit of how there's always a stipulation attached to it. So maybe it's kind of that one special one-off, but it doesn't feel special anymore. Like Okada used to be a big deal. Now he just says bitch on TV.
Right. I feel like you said, it was like the first 2 years, it felt like it was special. It felt like it was a special attraction where you can come and watch. But now to me, it just feels like one of those yearly gimmick pay-per-views where we just have to get through it to get to our next big show. So this year, I feel like there's not really anything spectacular going around Forbidden Door to actually get people excited.
Yeah, it's been, there's no, like I said, there's no special matches anymore. I mean, your big match is Osprey versus Swerve, which are two guys that are signed on your roster. I know it's an AEW show, but still, yeah, there's no big, holy shit, I can't believe they're doing that match anymore.
Right. And honestly, I feel like more of the Forbidden Door, at least in this case, in this year's case, is more geared towards the women's roster on AEW. I feel like there is some Forbidden Door opportunities there, but in being perfectly honest, and no disrespect to any of the women and the ladies, I just feel like they're not as known than people like Okada when they were not signed to the company and being a part of Forbidden Door.
Well, now, because also New Japan's been vocal about how they're not exactly happy with the deal that it's been, how it's worked out between them and AEW. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly. Now that they're getting CMLL involved, they're getting AAA involved, they're getting Stardom involved. So now you're having to get other promotions, which is cool. But I don't know, especially as to a U.S. audience, how much those other promotions translate, like you were saying.
Right. And I feel like you said, I don't even know if it's allegedly now. I feel like that's kind of a well-known thing that even they don't like John Moxley of how he's, holding the New Japan, what is it, the IWGP World Championship?
Well, it's now, I just call it the New Japan Heavyweight Championship because like they unified the belts and then the lineage for the original IWGP has pretty much been stopped. So it's kind of a new belt, but yeah, it's essentially the same thing.
Right. So it's like, it's kind of, they've been outspoken of how that's been shown on AEW television, and nobody really wants to talk about it. But a couple of weeks ago, when Jordan Grace issued her open challenge for the Knockouts title, the only company she didn't mention was AEW, and I feel like that was kind of shocking. Like I don't think she meant it as a dig, but like you mentioned companies outside of the country and not AEW, I feel like that was kind of a big deal.
Maybe just a little, maybe just a little. But let's say hi to the people that is in the chat with us here real quick, as we
Yeah.
got C Money USA. Yes, folks, we're the only actual coherent debate on right now, and neither one of us is orange or falling asleep. I can guarantee you that. Or even been a convicted felon. I will throw that out there as well, just assuming that you don't have a criminal record, sir. C Money out here describing Forbidden Dork should be a good pay-per-view with many dream matches like MJF versus Hichichero, 13 matches in all counting the 0 hour Let's Evan Go 7.5 hour pay-per-view. Who's in? Yeah, that's a little bit of the thing too, is Tony likes to add a lot of matches. Like it works if you didn't do it all the time. If this was your big showcase, we're seeing SummerSlam go to 2 nights, you have this be your big showcase. But yeah, just I'm kind of getting sick of like the 6-7 hour pay-per-views for AEW.
Yeah, I think, at first I felt like maybe it was okay to have like a 5 to 6 hour pay-per-view for AEW because they only had 4 a year, right? So we
Right.
started off with Double or Nothing, and then they added Revolution and things of that sort, and it was only 4. But now we're getting into having a pay-per-view almost every month, and at this point I think there's time where you can shrink the match card from having 15 matches to maybe about 9 or 10. They don't have to go the whole Triple H route and have like 6 matches or 4 matches or 5 matches. But since you're having pay-per-views every month, I feel like you can stretch certain stories out to add that match to a future pay-per-view event and not kind of jam it all in one.
He puts a week's worth of booking into one pay-per-view. That's really what I feel like it is. If he really books a whole Dynamite, a whole Rampage, and a whole Collision and adds it to what is already would be a decent pay-per-view.
Yeah, absolutely. And then thinking about it on TNA's end, TNA has like a pay-per-view or a monthly special each month. And the majority of their time, their match card is between 8 and 10, excluding the pre-show matches, and they still wind up with a 2.5, 3 hour show. And I don't know kind of where Tony Khan's thought process is with having 15 matches and they all run 35 to 40 minutes, and then you got people that want to go to work the next day and they can't because they've been up till 1 o'clock, so it's a lot of mess.
Right. Yeah. Rocco, what up? He's talking about the wild card potentially being Adam Page. We'll probably talk about that later on because I think that there might be some potential returns here. There's got to be something. There's got to be a trick up the sleeve somewhere here with this.
Yeah.
With this show. So we'll talk about that a little later. Scott, at least we have KJ. You got Anthony and Nick.
You got me.
Well, he had another good one here. Does KJ have an umbrella in his drink yet? I cannot confirm nor deny if the man might be sipping on a Mai Tai. Mr. Golfer, number one heel viewer is here. Well, it's the other promotion, so you should be happy now. You're the baby face over on this side here.
Right.
MDB, KJ, when did you get so tan?
Ooh, yeah. KJ got real tan.
Right. TJ, what up?
What's up?
Broken, what up? Dale, what up? Adam, update. It's my phone. What are we updating, sir? Show is going to be so long. I'm going to have to some vitamins before I walk in the arena and halfway through the show. There you go. If you're going to it, absolutely, I would use vitamins responsibly. And bring a sign, bring a shirt. Bring a sign and we'll send you a shirt. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
Anthony has always been the white hat. Yes, Anthony is the baby face of the channel. Literally and figuratively. He's the one without a beard.
Right.
It's coming in, though. I can see it. It's forming. You spend enough time with me and KJ, still, you'll end up growing it fully.
It'd be like down here.
It just happens. It's like being part of the whites. You got to have a beard. MDB again. Bradley, what up? Kyle, what up? Jacob, what up?
What's up, Jacob?
Richard, we got Emo Cutie. Is that your real life bedroom picnic? No, it's just a really good green screen and a really good background done by KJ.
Right.
I figured, Forbidden Door. Most people probably watching this in certain basements. I'm going to leave it at that. So might as well look like it. Yeah, what up? Byron, what up? Will Osprey should not win the championship straight away. He should go through adversity. Fair enough. Fair enough. And last one before we'll get to the matches and everything. I don't have a Wrestling for Life shirt, but I'm going to be wearing my Cornet face shirt. Going to stir up some sugar honey iced tea.
Absolutely.
Right, but we got 13 matches to get through, sir. So let's start off with Chris Statlander and Momo Watanabe with Stokely Hathaway versus Willow the Pillow Nightingale and Tom Nakano with the Stardom AEW crossover to kick off the pre-show.
I feel like this might have to go to Willow and Tom Nakano. Hopefully I pronounced that right.
Nakano.
Yeah, Nakano. Okay. So yeah, I feel like this has to go to Willow. I think this plays into what's going on. If there's one thing I'm liking right now in AEW, it's the feud with Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. And I feel like Willow Nightingale should get the win here, but usually when the feud starts, the heel gets the win. But I'm thinking Willow Nightingale should take this. If there's one match I'm kind of excited about, it might be this one. A pre-show match.
Well, that shows their level of booking when they have the best women's division, but they're probably best women's matches going on first. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, it is interesting because this is still kind of the startings of a little bit of the Willow Statlander feud. And I agree with you. I think it's one of the better actual feuds and stories that they have. So that's why I got to go with Stat. Stat gets the win here. We continue this on to we get the straight up one-on-one, and that's where Willow gets the win because then she's just been beaten down. I don't know if she gets the win here if you have a need for a rematch. One of those of just, will you beat me with a tag team partner? You didn't beat me, or do we have the two Stardom girls, Nakano and Watanabe? Are they the ones that caused the pinfall, and we don't even get Stat and Willow involved in the finish?
That could be the case, and this may be something we could save until what is it, all out, or is it all in? That's the big one.
You do that all in. I do that all in. Is that their next one?
Yeah. So I think all in, that would be a good match to have Chris Statlander versus Willow Nightingale.
Oh yeah, you get the UK crowd just chatting along with fucking Willow and everything. Yeah, that'll be where you do it. She gets the huge babyface win in Wembley. They're doing that again, I believe. So yeah, that's where I do it.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking the same thing.
Folks, what are you thinking in the chat? Odds, what up? Ain't that the truth, Pat? Lucha Bros and Mystico versus Takahashi Titan and Yoda Tsuji. Holy ish, this might steal the show. Let's be real. Yes, that was actually the next match. We could talk about that. That's also on the pre-show, which was announced today. So Los Ingobernables de Japan. I said it right, actually. Yoda Tsuji, Titan, and Hiromu Takahashi taking on the Lucha Bros of Penta, Rey Fenix, and Mystico, aka Sin Cara, in a trios match on the pre-show.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great match. I feel like I'm a big fan of the Lucha Brothers, and I feel like every time I see them together in a ring in AEW, they always deliver. When it comes to choosing who would win, honestly, I don't know. But I do know this match could be one that you gotta watch, that could sneak up in there, even as a pre-show match, to be the best match of the night.
Oh, absolutely. These are three guys that are super fast paced. For those who don't know, Los Ingobernables de Japan is the Japanese New Japan version of the AAA, I believe. I'm going to get wrong either way of AAA or CMLL, of Los Ingobernables that Andrade and all of them were in. So it's very much still of that kind of lucha style a little bit and everything. So this is going to be a barn burner. I will also mention, I like that if you've watched a lot of like the New Japan cards, like Wrestle Kingdom and all of that, there's a lot of trios matches on those shows, especially like night one and night two. There's a lot of trios tag team matches on this card now that I'm looking at it. But this one's probably going to be the best one. I'm stalling because I don't know who to pick.
It's a hard choice, honestly.
I'll say Lucha Bros because I think I'm going with a pick later on that we don't have one whole side win out, and I'll leave it at that. So I think Lucha Bros take the win here.
Okay. To be different, I'm gonna choose the other team. I don't even want to try to pronounce it, but the last word, which is Japan.
So just say Lij.
Lij. Okay, Lij. That's who I'm taking to be different.
There we go.
Big Nick.
There we go. Some solution. What up? Yeah, I don't know who to pick. Yeah, this could really go either way because both teams are super stacked. Tsuji's actually, believe, a former world champion, or was at least challenging for it when Sanada had it. So yeah, and now it's interesting. Penta's contract might be coming up. Do they still have him getting a push? Does he, take an L? We'll see. I'm saying hit that like button. Absolutely. Absolutely. Haktui that like button. That's the last time I'm going to say that because that meme's getting old now.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest.
Oh, you sweet, sweet child. You sweet summer child. You are definitely the baby face then.
I've been seeing it all over the place, and I'm like, I'm not going to ask.
Don't. Just think of it as the Iron Sheik of when he would, Iran #1 Haktui or USA Haktui. That's what it was. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just go with that. Just
go with that.
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. That hot tour, that hot tour for 2024. That's what I'm voting for. Fuck this debate we got going on. But we've got Mariah May with Toni Storm, and Mina Shirakawa and Luther taking on Saraya with Harley Cameron and Anna Jay in a Women's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round match.
Okay, so I was about to say, why is this match happening until you said the Owen Hart Cup tournament.
That's the feud. That's a bit of the feud. They're involved in the feud.
That's true. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna choose Mariah May. I don't know. Saraya, I feel bad because I don't want to say really anything negative about Saraya. Only reason why is because like Saraya has commented on some of my videos on TikTok. So I don't want to say anything negative because I'm a huge fan of when she was Paige, and I was really happy that she, came out and went, to AEW and changed her name to Saraya, and it seemed like she was going to do something good, and nothing has really shaped out of that. So I don't really want to say anything negative about Saraya. But is it time for Saraya to finally do something in AEW? I don't know. Do you give this one to the new meat?
Well, if they're going for a title shot at Wembley.
Oh, I forgot about that. But she lost it like a month later, didn't she?
Still, you're gonna go we just saw it with Drew. We've seen it in all these WWE shows and everything. If you're gonna go to in somebody's hometown, especially home country that you don't go there often, you're definitely putting that person on the show.
That is true. So
in a prominent spot too.
So if the finals of is the finals happening at All Out or All In? I get them confused. All In?
All In is before All Out. All Out is the one that they do in Chicago.
Okay.
All In's the one they do in the UK.
All right. So if the finals are happening at All In, then maybe Saraya should take this.
Fair enough. I'm going Mariah May because I think that there's going to be another. I literally everything that I was saying was God's honest. I believe you. I could go that way. I wanted to go that way. I think that I'm picking Mariah May because of a prediction I'm making later on up the card here. I think may play into that a wee bit here.
Okay.
But Big Nick got me rolling. Say anything. I don't know what you're trying to get him to say.
I think he's trying to get me to say something negative about Saraya.
Yeah. There we go. Let it out. Mina throws some D's, Shirakawa. Paige is gonna kick Anthony's ass. Yeah, she's gonna steal the hat. No hat for Anthony if he says something bad about Saraya. But so that's already the first 3 pre-show matches.
Right.
How we feel about this? How do we feel about the pre-show? How do we feel about the 0 hour?
So the pre-show, the majority of the matches sound really good. Like I think we both talked about how the Lucha Brothers, the trios match could potentially steal the show. Chris Statlander and the folks from that other company. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. Stardom. There we go. And Stardom, that could be a good match because it's setting up potentially Willow versus Chris at All In. And then Mariah May versus Saraya is setting up the tournament, for the women, the Owen Hart Cup tournament. So a lot of the pre-show matches are actually sounding really, really good. I feel like right now, as we get into it, the pre-show is looking better than the main card.
I think that there's some of those pre-show matches that you could slide on the main card, and some of those main card matches that need to slide to the pre-show, if not another show. Pre-show is looking like a pre-nap. Well, we'll be here live at 6:45. We'll be here, the pre-show with the pre-show, as we got ready for the show for Forbidden Door here. So absolutely, we'll be here. You better be here, MDB now.
Right. Even if you're not watching, you got to be here.
Just sleep with us on in the background. Pause. But yeah. I feel no qualms showing up at the end of the pre-show with that card. No offense. I think that there's good matches on that pre-show that would be hell of a matches on Dynamite. Definitely wouldn't be 502 or 680,000 this week or whatever in ratings, I feel, hopefully. But yeah, I there's a few matches I could swap out. If we're going to do 13, I could swap out to the pre-show instead of those. Those are some good matches.
Absolutely. One of the matches I would swap out instantly would be the trios match. I feel like that should be stuck in the main card somewhere.
Well, here, I'll mention a trios match that absolutely needs to be on the pre-show, if not another show, if not no show at all. So going to the main card now, folks, the main attraction, the learning tree of Chris Jericho and Big Bill with Jeff Cobb. Spoiler alert for Collision. But yeah, so Jeff Cobb is going to be teaming with the learning tree. And so help me God, if they put Jeff Cobb in the learning tree, somebody going to get hurt real bad. I'm going to break some things. You thought I was mad when they did it to Brian Keith. You do that to Jeff Cobb, who should be out here having a singles match on this goddamn card. Instead, he's wrapped up. He was issuing an open challenge for the New Japan television title for Forbidden Door, and instead is sucked into the Jericho vortex with the learning tree.
I don't even know what this learning tree thing is. Like,
I'm gonna go George Washington as we're talking all presidential debates and shit. I'm gonna go George Washington, chop this motherfucking tree down. I don't want this tree.
Nothing about it, like this learning tree gimmick, nothing about it is entertaining at all. And I'm sorry, but Chris Jericho just needs to go away. And I don't care if he sees this. You can't do anything to me anyway. But he just needs to go away. It's terrible. And bringing Big Bill into this, like, this is just giving Big Bill TV time, because I don't feel like he's interested.
But Big Bill could be doing way better than this. And yes, I'm going George Washington, Nick. I'm chopping this Charlie Brown ass tree down.
Like, he could be doing something, better than this. It's just completely terrible. And I've seen some fans like say they've become a fan of this, and I'm like, why? Do you like boring things?
Well, it's one of those. Is it so camp that it's one of those? It's like Tommy Wiseau in The Room, which I think actually just turned 21 years old today. Shout out the movie, but not the actor or director. But yeah, have you seen or heard of The Room, to where it's literally regarded as the worst movie of all time almost, but it's so bad that it's like almost funny? So I feel like that's almost where we're dancing with this learning tree shit of, thanks guys. Like, I wonder if they just think that it's so bad it's going to just go full back around and somehow become funny.
I don't know if they're thinking it's like the PCO and Steph D. Lander stuff on TNT. I feel like it's super corny, but a lot of people are actually liking it, me included. But I actually feel like that's super entertaining. And what Chris Jericho is doing is just trying to make himself relevant in 2024, when the last time he was relevant was, when AEW first started and he was the champion.
Is it because this is just rolled in from everything else? Like there was no pause for the cause, there was no break in the action or anything like that with Chris Jericho. So you went from being fine to now all of a sudden you talk like you got hit in the head with a brick. When the fuck did that start? Why did that start, Chris? So if he would have taken some time off and just, again, not just been on our TV so goddamn much, which halfway I like some of the jokes because he's leaning into the internet shit of, you know who wants some TV time? I do. So yeah, but if he would have just fucked off for a little before this probably would have just been so stupid it gets over. Like you said with the D-Lander PCO stuff, if it's camp, but you're camp and you tolerate it, it's not sucking in top guys, pause. But when you've got Brian Keith involved in this, you're now going to get Jeff Cobb, you've got Big Bill involved with this. I think they could have done way better with Big Bill, and especially this is where he went after Ricky Starks and then just kind of dissipated. So now he went from Ricky Starks to Chris Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you everywhere when it comes to this. This is a match that needs to be on the pre-show. I've seen so many people tweet when Chris Jericho comes out that this is a restroom break. That's kind of what I see. That's kind of what I see. Like every time Chris Jericho comes out, like I'm not even paying attention because I think whatever he's trying to pass on and pass off, I think is just utterly completely annoying.
This whole shit needs to pass on and pass away, which we haven't even mentioned who they're taking on yet. We just went into that much of a Jericho tirade. But they are taking on Samoa Joseph, Hook, and the greatest cameraman in AEW, Shibata. Again, like I said, there's a lot of 6-man tag matches on this card, which you normally see with like a Wrestle Kingdom, G1, what have you. They'll throw in a bunch of just kind of factions, 6-man tag matches. So this kind of fits if you're doing a New Japan style card, just the match, I guess. But yeah, this is pre-show. This has got to be Joe, Hook, and Shibata. I would fucking hope just please end this, but I don't think they will. Is Chris Jericho gonna win?
Yes, absolutely.
Son of a bitch.
Absolutely. And what's crazy about this, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but Shibata is the one that's like using the phone to speak for him, right?
Yes, he's like I said, he's the ninja cameraman.
The crazy thing about it is what Shibata is doing is actually entertaining, and what Chris Jericho is trying to do is nowhere near entertaining. And I would hate for Samoa Joe. Honestly, I'm about to go into another thing, but like Samoa Joe was just the world champion, right? And now he's in this trash thing with Chris Jericho. It's terrible.
It's the Jericho vortex, but that's even without Chris Jericho. On one hand, yes and no a little bit with how they've presented Samoa Joseph since he lost the world title. He never tried to go back at it, anything like that. He just kind of just fell down the card, and now he's playing mentor to Hook, which I don't mind, but being involved with the premier athletes and having Shibata run around as your cameraman, it's just a little, it's so unserious that it makes anytime they try to be serious, just still unserious.
Right. I hate to say it that the learning tree with Jeff Cobb is going to win, but yeah, this is one of those matches that like I don't really care about at all.
Right. KJ is going to have a corner if the learning tree wins. Oh wait, if I can find. I'm not going to have a corner. There, I'll at least do it. KJ's not here, so he can't see it, but I'll at least do it in his honor and everything like that. So that was me saying that, but yeah, he just might. He might just fly back instantly off that fucking vacation. No, he'll be. Maybe he'll just show up at Forbidden Door and just whoop Chris Jericho right then. He's like,
right. At this point,
he'll be the running. He's like, ain't no way that's fucking happening on my watch.
KJ gets so irritated. Like you can visibly see he gets irritated when he sees Chris Jericho.
Yeah, it's Canadian on Canadian violence.
Right.
Chris, Mr. Rogers Jericho. Yeah, that's a bit of a shit gimmick that they're trying to copy with that.
Exactly.
But so next match on the pre-show, or Christ, on the pre-show, on the main show. Actually, I bet you I could find. I'll say this now. Speaking of another match that almost I feel should be on the pre-show, and I'll say this with heresy in my veins, of MJF versus Hichichero.
I thought you were hitting with Mercedes Monet being on the
Oh
pre-show.
no! I mean that's a championship match, and I like Stephanie Vacher, so that should still be on the main show. It's for both titles. So, but MJF versus Hichichero. Anybody taking Hichichero?
I don't think so.
Bueller, anybody?
I don't think so. The chat's kind of silent. I don't think they're taking Hichichero either.
How did we get here? Why are we here? I know MJF just came back, so you need him to do something. And again, I'm saying this as a scarf carrying member. But why is this match a thing? I mean, I get it. I like the new MJF. He's kind of still a dick, but he's a babyface dick. Pause. But why are we just randomly throwing him into this match? And because of the Elite put him in this match, I didn't know he had any issues with the Elite already. It's a way to get MJF on the card and nothing more.
Right. And wasn't it supposed to be Roosh?
That's the match that they did on Dynamite that they could have done here.
Okay.
That was commercial free. So you did the fucking pay-per-view match on TV, and instead you give us the TV match on the fucking pay-per-view.
Okay. That's what I thought, because I thought originally the direction was heading towards Roosh. And I don't even know who this Hichichero dude is. So yeah, I don't think
he's the chemist. He's out there. He looks like some generic lucha. I say this all due respect, and don't come for me with pitchforks and torches because I'm not a huge Hichichero mark. Sorry, I'm more of an MJF mark. I'll admit it. Mr. Habanero is even taking MJF. Who's Mr. Habanero? Don't ruin MJF. Odds, absolutely. You need to. I get that with the Roosh feud and everything, that you're getting him in the fold. Roosh is still a guy that can actually go 100%, and is a guy that he still could face every week a little bit or be involved with, and has also just came back recently too. That feud I didn't mind because it's a way, even like when MJF before, when he's having feuds with Darby, etc. Now, granted, that was Darby then, not Darby now, but I like that it's still reintroducing him, but going to this match, just why is this a thing? Out of all the people, out of anything, like I said, you could have done MJF versus Roosh here versus Hichichero. You could have done the Hichichero match of Roosh is out there. Well, you got to get through Hichichero, hoochie before you get to me.
Right. This is one of those matches that was like just thrown on the card. Another match that didn't really need to happen. And what, like, something I kind of want to touch on real quick is something I've been seeing a lot from the AEW diehards is like that they've said, like, since MJF returned, it's more of like the downfall of MJF. And I'm like, I don't see that, but it's not MJF's fault that Tony Khan is not the best booker, right?
Well, I've asked this question, and I'll try and say this quickly. As Emo QDC, and I think Don Callis will cost Will at Forbidden Door. That's not a bad shout. We can talk about that when we get there. But yeah, him and the Callis family doesn't make sense anymore. But MJF just has nobody to work with anymore. Like, he's got Osprey and he's got Swerve. Adam Cole ain't there. Kenny ain't there. There's Okada's not Okada right now. Like, you could have imagine an actual MJF match versus Okada if Okada was still New Japan Okada versus, oh, I'm so sorry, bitch. Like that Okada. I don't need to see that versus MJF right now.
Right.
That's the thing. You can't do MJF versus Moxley or anything. There's the Danielson. That's gone. That's already been used up.
Yeah.
There's no player that's at MJF's level. So he's Jordan out here on the Wizards.
Absolutely. And this begs the question, like, did he, and I know we got like 17 other matches to get to, but like, did he make the right decision in choosing AEW over WWE?
I'll justify it and say he bet on himself, and I'll leave it at that. As again, we got to roll through these matches, and I will remind everybody as we got about 60 people kicking with us and all of that. I don't know what we're at on likes and everything, but 100% we are the Wrestling for Life Network. We cover more live wrestling than anybody out there. Back at it like a jackrabbit. Me and Anthony tomorrow, Friday night SmackDown. Saturday taking it off. Sunday Forbidden Door as well. And then we're rolling right back through another whole week of wrestling here. So 100% be a friend, tell a friend. If you haven't done so, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And shout out real quick, just go check out Geekbox, our homie too there. Man did a top 11 because he couldn't pick through top 10 reactions from us and everything with that. So go show the man some love for that.
Yes. And you heard Big Nick right. I will be back tomorrow for SmackDown, my first SmackDown on the channel, and I'm super excited for it.
Man's growing outside the TNA verse here. We're learning him. Maybe we'll get him MDB. Maybe we'll get Anthony on Tuesday. Maybe we'll get him actually over to NXT. That'll be when they announce like the NXT crossover. There's some shit like their Worlds Collide, their Forbidden Door pay-per-view. That'll be the greatest moment. The first TNA or the first NXT Anthony's on is when they announce, doing the their version of the Forbidden Door.
Right, which would be way better. But okay.
Well, but again, that begs the question: would it be better because it's new? Because it would be the first time that they've ever done anything like that, because Forbidden Door used to be the shit. It was, oh my God, can you believe they're doing this? And now it's, oh my God, can you believe they're doing this?
Yeah, probably because it's new. It'll definitely be better. And then, depending on if WWE continues to work with other people, it might get stale at the end, other companies, but yeah, it might get stale at the end, but it'll definitely, the first one around would be better than any Forbidden Door this year.
Well, fair. I'll agree with that statement because it'd be the first of any kind. So absolutely. But we have Konosuke Takeshita versus Mark Briscoe versus Jack Perry versus Dante Martin versus Leo Rush, the Blackheart, taking on El Phantasmo in a ladder match for the vacant AEW TNT Championship because Adam Copeland fell off a cage.
I feel like if you choose anybody but Jack Perry, like you're wrong. Because I feel like this is for Jack Perry.
I want to win this, and there's people who I know will win this.
Right. I feel like this is all the way Jack Perry. I feel like this is set up for Jack Perry. I don't feel like anybody else is going to win this at all. I even heard that Mark Briscoe hasn't even defended the ROH title since he won it. I think that's the truth. I don't know.
Checks out.
That sounds about right. So I think this match is really set up for Jack Perry, and Jack Perry is going to walk out the new TNT champion.
Fair enough. Well, so then I'll ask this, and I will answer this question real quick of Emo Cutie asking Big Nick and Anthony question. Do you think Roman Reigns comes back after his dad passed away? Absolutely. I still think he'll show back up probably around SummerSlam. Christ, the man was still out there visiting children's hospitals and everything shortly thereafter. So 100%.
Yeah, he's definitely coming back. I really thought before his father passed away, it was potentially going to be this tomorrow because of the bloodline acknowledgement ceremony, but I don't think that it's happening. I think it'll be more close to SummerSlam.
Well, no, so tune in tomorrow, folks, when we're here live to see who tunes in or who shows up for the acknowledgement ceremony.
Right.
But so I ask this then: who do you want to win this match? Like, if you could book who wins this match, who would you pick to win this match versus, let's be honest, anybody else out there? I'll take answers from the chat, from the chorus, the cathedral, anybody out there, anybody else taking anybody but Jack Perry. Exactly.
Okay.
I think 100% this is going to be Jack Perry wins this match. They've damn near set it up. This feels like just the workaround, so we can't say that we gave it to him.
Right.
But if you had to pick someone, if you had the pencil, who would you book to win this match? Like, if you had just ultimate say, you show up and you throw Jack Perry off the ladder, who are you holding the ladder for to make sure they get up there and pull that down?
I think this would be an odd choice, but I would actually say Dante Martin.
Really?
Yeah, that's why I feel like that's an odd choice. I like Dante Martin. I do know like him and his brother, they're injury prone. That man twisted his foot live on TV. I don't know how that looked.
Yeah.
But I personally, if it was me booking, that's why I don't need to be booking anything. I would give it to Dante Martin.
Yeah, well, okay. So due to hard times at work, you're giving it to Dante Martin.
Yeah, hard times. He needs
Man,
a little bit of a payoff.
going from one injury to another injury-prone superstar is the TNT Championship. We'll
Right,
see how much we
absolutely.
come back here, and then they can just award it to Jack Perry once he gets injured again.
Exactly.
I would go. I have got a few here, a little bit. I'll run through almost everybody here and make a case for why they should win. Lio Rush should win this because he seems to be almost getting courted by AEW, and this Blackheart gimmick and everything all that he's been doing on the indies is actually getting pretty over. And Lio Rush is always talented. Well, that's never been denied. I think it's just he's always been in these weird circumstances, and he's just a big fan of retiring. He's like the Brett Favre of pro wrestling a little bit, of just I retire, I run, retire. So he wouldn't be a bad shout. I think he'd be a really nice fit in TNA. Him and Gresham, I think that works really well. Obviously, Jack Perry's winning. Briscoe, just sympathy. Mark Briscoe's the greatest thing in AEW at this point. Him, MJF, and one or two other people are what makes that show tolerable.
Right.
I feel at times. And Takeshita needs something. He needs a win. He needs to be up there. Like, the man's been vocal about not enjoying his time, respectfully, but he's a guy that if he should be towards the top of your fucking card. The guy who has a great physique. The guy's got a super talent in the ring. Him and Callis, just those two alone. You have Callis be the voice piece. I think that works perfect. You don't need the fucking family around it. This is a guy that was pushing and had a great match with Kenny Omega, and he's out here in a fucking ladder match for a mid-card title and is probably clearly not going to win it. What the fuck are we doing? You have homegrown, ready-made fucking talent that you can make new stars out of, but we got the learning tree and we got that shit. No, my personal choice, the one that I would be holding the ladder for, win this, is Takeshita, but we all know it's Jack Perry that's winning this.
Yeah. And like I said, when we started this, for this match, it's no choice but Jack Perry here. It's all surrounding the elite and whatever they're trying to do.
Absolutely. Right. Yeah. But see, MDB, Takeshita would be the right choice. Ultimately, he has the tools. He's a guy that you could have him. You could give me a Takeshita versus an MJF feud. That's where I go. You get Callis and MJF going back and forth. Now, granted, I still think MJF might eat Callis alive, but in ring, that sounds fucking great. But no, you can't do that.
Right.
So, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy, freshly squeezed. Who you got, sir? Who you got?
I'm gonna go wild here because it feels like Orange Cassidy wins everything. I'm gonna go with Zack Sabre Jr.
Get out of my head. Get out of my head. That's literally what was my fucking justification for why I was gonna take Zack Sabre Jr. I honestly, personally think this is going to be a New Japan heavy kind of win card. A little bit of fuck you, Tony. We're getting our wins back. We're taking our pound of flesh a little bit here. So yeah, this is a little bit of coin flip. Shit, you took Zack Sabre Jr., so I guess I'll by default take freshly squeezed OC. I mean, the man's the golden boy. He's been for the fantasy faction with what formerly known as Cheap Pop and a bunch of other podcasts like High Side, all that. OC has been our goddamn captain for the longest time on that because he always wins every match that he's in, and he's always booked all the time. So
all the time.
He's the fucking cheat code. He's the Goldberg of AEW. So
and it feels like Orange Cassidy opens almost every Dynamite. It's rare when like Dynamite starts and I don't hear his music.
He's the Super Cena. He's do of
Just more
AEW.
entertaining. But yeah.
Whoa, I caught that. I caught that. Orangeburg. Christ, the Jade now, the intro, his theme song is halfway starting to play like Goldberg's theme in my head here. But so I'll take Orange Cassidy then because you already took Zack Sabre Jr. I agree with your decision, the reasoning behind it. This is a little bit of a coin flip match. This is one of those that, again, it'll be a hell of a match. It has next to nothing of a story going into it. There's minor things. There's no real build. There's going to be no carryover. There's no fallout from it. It's just going to be a cool match. And at times, that's what helps me enjoy AEW is just like turn off part of your brain and just it's a cool match. And there's just move on. There's nothing to be expected next week. Just wait till the next pay-per-view.
And I feel like, I feel like that's the mindset I need to use, watching AEW, like not focusing on a story, but it's so hard when there's a show that comes on every week where you want to get invested into the story and there's nothing there. It's different. And I think I've said this like on a previous, show where it's different when it's Wrestling Revolver or something to that effect, where it's like once a month and we're not having shows weekly. So I don't have to really care about any type of story going in there. I'm really just going to see the match or watching the match. But when a show is coming on each and every week, I feel like there's need to be something that gets you to come back next week other than the wrestling, right? I guess.
No, I agree with you fully. I've said it openly on stream of that's where I turn my brain off of just view it like a revolver and everything of it. Just I'm gonna watch some cool wrestling, but the stories 100% placate into the matches and everything, especially if you're going to be a weekly program, like you said, you need stories, you need that carryover of you need something that needs to be appointment viewing versus just you get sold to watch a 5-star match because of what you know going into it. If that guy's super talented, that all of that, the build to a 5-star match is what makes it a 5-star match because you don't just find a match just randomly and oh my god, this is the greatest match ever because you're not fucking invested into it. But anyways,
right.
So we're split on that one. I'm trying to make sure I haven't gone double over. So, okay. So we'll talk about Tony Storm with Luther and Mariah May versus Mina Shirakawa with Mariah May for the AEW Women's World Championship.
I mean, do you say Tony Storm is losing? No. Tony Khan has put all his chips, all his money, all his cards on Tony Storm. The moment I thought Tony Storm was really going to lose was when she faced Deonna Purrazzo. I was like, this is it. Tony Storm is losing, and she won. So I don't think this is one of those matches where like you don't bet against Tony Storm.
Fair enough. Well, I'm gonna get to my prediction, but I'm gonna click on this real quick of boobs for the win. This is why we don't have a female viewership odds. Thank you for that. This is why women don't get involved in wrestling. Anyways, but no, yeah, it's been provocative with this storyline.
It really has, yes.
Crispy Chicken saying AW's 1 week storylines, not long-term storytelling. Yes, they book like a wrestling. I say this out of the kindness of my heart. They book like a Wrestling Revolver. They book like a GCW, what have you. They book like a company that doesn't have a weekly television show when they have a weekly television show. I'm taking Mina Shirakawa, by the way. I think this is where we get the Mariah May heel turn. She stays with Mina, and we get that. They're going to keep this thing fucking going. If you have Tony win, it's over. They're going to keep this thing going. This is the draw. This is the demo. This is the new demo god right now. Is this goddamn thing. That's remember the demo's 19 to like 49. I'm going to emphasize again 19 with this whole storyline. So I think Mina wins here. We get, and I think that's part of why Mariah May wins in the pre-show is this is where we start to get the Mariah May turn on Tony Storm here because We need that at some point, and there's been no real signs outside of this that have led us to that. So we need to do something here.
Okay. I mean that's more of the sensible, sensible way and the sensible choice here. No disagreement there. The question would be is if Tony Khan pulls that trigger. But
Oh,
yeah,
I'm 100% viewing this of how I would do it.
yeah.
Tony will not do that. Tony will
Right.
have it been in a no contest or some shit.
Right.
Mariah May just can't decide. She calls she's the one that ends up having to do the pin or call the pin, and both women have their shoulders down, and she does a double count of 1, 2, 3, and so they both win, and everybody just hugs it out, and we're all around bosoms and all of that.
Why I can see that happening is like
Because
so
Tony Khan, because Tony Khan,
because Tony Khan, absolutely.
the man who can't math, the man who's an analytics guy, a stats guy, the Jaguars, but can't math. 500 million people watched 110 shows in AEW. The math ain't mathing, my guy. The math ain't mathing.
So was it 500 million people watching or going to the event?
The 500. Well, he mentioned again. I'll just say this. He mentioned how many homes they were in, not how many views they get. You can be an amount of, you can be available to everybody. Water is free to everybody. Water is available to everybody. Not everybody drinking water all the time.
Exactly. I mean, you can even say like NBC, ABC, like the big networks, they're available in majority of every home, especially with over-the-air free TV, right? But there's not 350 million people tuning in to Law and Order each week. It's not possible. It's not happening. So yeah,
I'll say this, and I'll segue it into this way too. Of even folks, you know how many people out there have the YouTube app and everything on their phone, have it on a desktop, have it on a laptop, down on your TV, your smart TV. There's 8 to 18 million ways to have YouTube on your screen and everything like that. So think of how available that is, and think about how you're doing such a disservice of not letting all those people know about the Wrestling for Life Network and why you need to be here. 100%. We need to reach out there. We've got that AEW, that Tony Khan math out there. We're available to everybody. So we need to have everybody tuned in here right now. We got 500 million people and 110 shows and everything. But yeah, 100% spread the good gospel of wrestling. But yeah, the math ain't mathing, Tony. You're the stats guy, and you're out here saying 500 million people in attendance for 110 plus AEW live events in 2024. The math breaks down to you would have had to almost have 5 million people on a show at every show.
And and I know, like I said earlier, we got so many matches to go through. But if we're even using his calculation, to me that sounds like that's more people attending AEW than a WWE show. And if you're just counting WWE's weekly shows and their pay-per-views, not their live events, that are not televised. It just sounds like
that's Super Bowl numbers, like 5 million people. Like, what are you even trying to say?
And he said in 2024 alone. Let's point that out.
It's
he said
a misquote. It's a misquote. That's alone.
Misquote. We've only been in 2024 6 months. You telling me
Man's is cooking.
And half, and I'm not the attendance dude, but like I went to AEW back in February, and half of the what is it, the Gwinnett Arena was cut off. So I'm not sure like where these 500 imaginary people are coming from.
It feels a little bit like it's punching down at this point, because it's like, we're not trying to hate on you, Tony. We want to help you. We want you to succeed. We want you to do good. But stop just saying dumb shit. Just say less. Stop. Don't quit saying shit, because it's always wrong, and you're fucking Sideshow Bob trying to walk out of the fucking parking lot full of fucking rakes and everything like that from the goddamn Simpsons. If everywhere you turn, this man turns, he's just smacking himself in the goddamn face. Oh, shouldn't have said that. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, I look like a fool here. Just do more, say less. God damn it.
Exactly. Do more, say less. Even when he made the comment, and again, I know we got so many matches to go through, but even when he made the comment that the AEW women's division is the best in the world, and I'm like, where? I'm like, the people that fight at McDonald's and Waffle House have better divisions than the. Let me stop. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Shaq's the greatest celebrity wrestler of all time.
Oh my gosh. And I saw you in
He's
the
had
comment.
1.5 matches. Snooki has almost as much credibility as Shaq.
I was
in
about
my
to
ring,
say, I'm like,
in
Snooki
the
had a
ring.
better match at
Tony out
WrestleMania
here is Shaq in the
27.
pool. He talks like a man who only watches his product, which might be the case.
At this point.
Right? But Geekbox, what up, my guys? Say their names and they appear. I believe in Nick and Anthony. Well, that easily. Where was it? MDB coming back with the "We Believe in the Geekbox." Yeah, shout out my guy. I shouted you out earlier, but appreciate you doing that. Again, go and check out Geekbox. Man did a top 11 because he couldn't pick through. We had that many good reactions out here. With great beards come great reactions. So we had that many good reactions. This man had to do the first in his new series of doing, the top 10s out of reactions. We're going to be number one because we got 11. We got one more. We're like Spinal Tap. These go to 11.
Right.
Stoner Jesus. Good evening, everyone. May the blunt be with you and also with you. Bashade AW got 680K. All thanks to Shelton. Yeah, the fucking Big Bang defense is out there with the Chewbacca defense, my guy. If we don't have the Big Bang, that's why, because Black Panther and Kendrick Lamar and Juneteenth is the reason why we sucked in the ratings. How about maybe just take it on the chin and shut the fuck up?
But it's the fact that you're using the Big Bang Theory that's been out for over 15 years to be your excuse of why
Tiny
the
Tim,
ratings
my
are
guy.
higher.
Tiny Tim. Out
It's
here
not
with that
even
crutch.
it's not even first run episodes of the Big Bang Theory. They're reruns. The Big Bang Theory ended like 5 years ago.
You're
Like,
waiting on reruns to come out there and help build up your show here. With, like I said, it's Tiny Tim. They just need a crutch. They just need a crutch.
right.
But we've got, oh Christ, the elite of Matthew Jackson, Nicholas Jackson, and Kazuchika Okada taking on Scissor Ace. I prefer Scissor Mihashi. Anthony Bowens, Max Caster, and Hiroshi Tanahashi, the president of New Japan, in a trios match.
I feel like this is the elite. It's like one of those where the elite wins. I don't think it goes anywhere else, to be honest.
Fair. I mean, again, yeah, that's the fucked up part with this. It's so bad because they already got the win at Anarchy in the Arena. The most that they didn't get the win is because they tried to cheat and got screwed over, or couldn't cheat successfully, and they're gonna get the win here.
Yeah, I don't see it going any other way but them getting the win.
To think that Okada was out here having premier top tier matches on this exact pay-per-view, I believe, not only last year, and now we're out here with the elite. We're out here with all of this of, again, like I said, oh, must have hit wrong button. Like, what? Like, I get sarcastic, sassy Okada, cool, but the motherfucker should still be out there looking like a badass. The man looks like a geriatric at this point in the ring, I feel.
No, agreed. He hasn't really did much of anything since he came to AEW. Even his matches in TNA, like earlier this year, were really good, But yeah, it's fell flat since he came, and it's terrible and it's sad to see.
So, folks, in the chat, I see 50 kicking it with us right now. I can say words. See, you cut my mic off. You did the Okada thing. That's what it was. But is anybody taking the Acclaimed? I know we've got Tanahashi out there. We've got the ace of New Japan, the president of New Japan. So do they have to get the win because we've got Tanahashi in the corner here? The Acclaimed won the title eliminator match. So why aren't we doing the fucking tag team match on the pay-per-view and instead have that and Okada versus Tanahashi. You split it into 2 matches.
I think that would be that better option.
Dear God, I told Tony Khan right now that more matches might be the better option with this, of adding an extra match. But yeah, I feel if you split this up and you had Okada actually wrestle like Okada versus Tanahashi, you actually got a straight up New Japan style match. I think works way better. And when are we going to get the tag title match between the Acclaimed? Oh, we'll save that till All In. Fuck, because no, the Acclaimed aren't taking the tag belts off of the Elite. Them winning it in Wembley's not going to get meh. This whole storyline's meh. So yeah, meh. The Elite win, meh.
Man.
Oh, meh. It's mid. It's midish. I almost swore pretty bad, but yeah, it's mid. Speaking of an M, but I won't say she's mid because I don't want to insult people. Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie Vaquer in a winner takes all match for the TBS Championship and the New Japan Women's Strong Championship.
Oh, this is easily 2 belts Banks. Oh, or 2 belts Moné.
Yeah,
she's winning the New Japan Women's Strong Championship. Yeah, she's definitely winning it. Doing her little dance at the end. CEO.
CEO.
Yeah.
Is it that she's the mid-card champion? Oh man, she's the greatest mid-card champion in women's wrestling. That's what you left for. Like, that's where you're at. All due respect to Stephanie Vaquer, they're not. No, AEW is not putting you over Mercedes. Nope. Not on the investment that they put in her. So Mercedes is winning this match, but it's a way for her to still just be able to wrestle in New Japan and AEW. Like, I mean,
right.
Great. Mercedes is getting what she wants. Cool. Stop telling us this. Stop trying to say she's the greatest. All of that. I don't see it. I'm probably not going to see it. She's doing what she wants to do. Good for her. I hope it's a good match. She has not had many or any in AEW so far. So, or recently, I'll even say. So I hope it's good, but yeah. I really hope Stephanie Vaquer shows up in this match, like shows up and shows out, because this is going to be the most, respectfully, this is going to be the most attention she gets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes to like Mercedes Moné, I think that's one of those where you either like her or you don't like her. Like, there's no in between. Like,
fair enough. And
I think
I'll go on the record admitting I wasn't a fan when she was Sasha. That's like he who sells seashells by the seashore. I say that better than her fucking name. But yeah, I didn't like Sasha. I haven't liked Mercedes. It don't work for me, dog. I'm the Randy Jackson in this situation.
Yeah, and I feel like that's honestly respectful. Like, Mercedes hits for some people and she doesn't for others. And I was a big fan of her as Sasha Banks. I like her as Mercedes Moné. I feel like, she's a great wrestler. And I feel like in WWE her promos were way better than what she's doing here. I feel like
is it the same, but she just sticks out like a sore thumb because no one else here talks like that? Like, nobody else probably has a script really handed to them of here's the promo or here's some lines that you've got to hit here with this. And I'm not saying everybody in WWE does, but that's definitely not happening in AEW. So could it be because she's so sports entertainment that she sticks out like a sore thumb in AEW?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that's the main reason that she's like that. Because to me, you put her in a situation with like a Charlotte or a Becky or a Rhea Ripley, I think her promos would come off better because they're people in the same company, people that she kind of been around. This is what WWE does. But in AEW, she's using the WWE type of promo style, and it just doesn't work for her there. So I definitely agree.
Fair enough. But I think we all agree. And I like this. Mercedes is the best Mercedes in AEW. That's about how far you can push it. Yeah. But I think we're all in agreement that Mercedes is winning this match. And again, I
Yeah.
think I like Stephanie Becker. I think I really like that New Japan Strong is a thing, even that we've got a New Japan presence in the US. So I hope that she kind of gets a chance to show up and show out. And I really hope Mercedes actually has, because we've seen Sasha have good matches.
Oh yeah.
Respectfully, her versus Bianca at WrestleMania 37 was great. Her versus Bayley in NXT was great. So we know what you're capable of, motherfucker. Just please do it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can even mention her matches with Charlotte when they traded the title for like 4 months between and Raw and the pay-per-views. Like a lot of those matches were really good. So she's had 5-star matches.
Mm-hmm.
We just need to see that.
Well, no. They were in the other 3 letters, so she hasn't had 5-star matches.
Ain't nobody thinking about Dave Meltzer.
Ain't nobody want that stale ass sell by ass tuna. But so we are down to, I'm making sure I didn't miss any matches. We are down to the final 3. The final 3. We've gone through 10 matches so far.
Yeah.
Jesus. And we still have hit on some other stuff. So Bryan Danielson versus Shingo Takagi for the men's Owen Hart Cup tournament first round.
Do you give this to Bryan Danielson because it seems like he may be taking a step back from wrestling once?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. You give this to Bryan Danielson.
We're on the Danielson retirement tour, and we've all kind of halfway known it and just kind of accepted it. It's been kind of meh. But with him, we're like wrestling Blue Panther in CMLL and everything. We're just out here of Danielson just gets to wrestle guys that he wants to wrestle.
Yeah.
That's why he's wrestling Takagi out here, which is gonna be a good match. Has the potential to be one of the better matches of the night, but it means
it's just an advancement to the tournament.
It's just a tournament match, and again, it'll be a really great match. Danielson's probably gonna win. I don't think he's gonna win the Owen, which it's going to be interesting to think about who could win it. I don't know all the competitors up the top, but yeah. I think Danielson advances here. I like Takagi. I think it'll be a fantastic match. I just don't see him winning it.
Yeah, and again, I think with Daniel, I was about to say Daniel Bryan, same difference. But Bryan Danielson, a lot of his matches in AEW have been stellar, and I don't expect anything less here. So I feel like this is, like you said, Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson's retirement tour. As it comes close to the end here, I feel like he actually might win the entire Owen Hart Cup. But yeah, this is all Bryan Danielson.
Oh, you get Danielson. You do the fuck. Sorry, I can't say this much on stream because you literally just, like, in my brain, you just cracked the code of Danielson's going to win the Owen. And shit. Are we going to get Osprey? We're setting up for Osprey versus MJF, though, because I'm almost thinking, do we get Osprey versus Danielson for the AEW title at All In?
Oh.
That's why I'm like, now you're making me rethink life here out here. That's a hell of a match and a hell of a way to do it, especially you would get your biggest crowd reaction if you do that in Wembley, but you need more runway to tell the story because you need to involve the Tiger Driver. You need to involve the history. So I like this whole narrative that I just made up in my own head. But I'll hold it back on it. But yes. Danielson at least wins this match. I don't know if he exactly wins the tournament. That.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I literally just went off into like Tony Khan mode there of like, imagine that'd just be really cool. Oh, where was it? Them stale ass stars, $5 million Monet. 4th and a quarter, 6 in the Tokyo Dome. I wonder if Meltzer has a life-size Tony Khan cuddle pillow. He's got definitely a body pillow that's got TK on that, just doing the hug thing, just back. And he cheats on the Alvarez one that he has beside him with the Tony one.
Right. That's hilarious.
Danielson, Slapnut's going to win it all. Hey, Keyshawn, I actually agree with you of Jeff Jarrett. God damn it. He might win this just on the sake of that video package. I'm not a super, I have my opinions on Jeff Jarrett, but that video package that they did with showing the connection to him and Owen and everything, and the whole reason why this is called the Owen and everything, I think was really good. I think it was a really good moment to have. Now, who could be the wild card that they put him against? Is it somebody that clearly goes on to win the tournament? Is it just cannon fodder of he gets the clear win? You got any predictions, permutations, anything like that of who the wild card could be?
That wild card could be Adam Page, I would assume.
That's the consensus pick of that. He's the one that's out there and he kind of just runs away with it, and that he's part of the elite now. But I get hung up on he was fired by the elite. Last I knew, I mean, the only way it makes sense is you getting up with Hangman versus Swerve again. But the rest of it kind of doesn't make sense how you get there. I wouldn't be surprised if it's somebody like a Colt Cabana or somebody, honestly. One of those, just cannon fodder. Oh, Jeff Jarrett, again, it's at least a win.
That could be the case.
100%. I mean, it's just a way to kind of dig a little bit. I mean, Chris, Drew out there of saying, what did I do to deserve this empty-headed dump to be costing me matches? So they're still taking pot shots. So I think it'd be interesting if you do somebody like a Colt Cabana or whatever. Like, Jeff Jarrett needs a win in this tournament. You do the whole video package. He needs at least a win.
Yeah, I forgot Jeff Jarrett was actually in this. So yeah, the outcome would probably be better if it's Jeff Jarrett and not Bryan Danielson. Thinking about it. Yeah.
Whoa, Geekbox in, just realizing this may be Anthony's first introduction to how much I can't stand Dave Meltzer. I think Anthony has his own opinions on Dave Meltzer as well. But I think of a little bit of why we all get along.
Right. I mean, I didn't even know who Dave Meltzer was until I joined the internet wrestling community, I guess. And that's how I kind of
tapped into the Matrix.
Right. That's kind of how I found out who Dave Meltzer was, and kind of seeing that he's not the best. So yeah.
Dave Meltzer is the Agent Anderson, the agent from fucking Matrix. I can't remember the name. I just remember Mr. Anderson. That's Dave Meltzer just popping up, just bland as bullshit. But so all in agreement on Danielson takes the win over Tagaki. So we're down to the final two. Jon Moxley versus Tetsuya Naito for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship.
I would kind of like New Japan to take their title back and not be on AEW television.
I didn't think you were gonna go there.
It's too many things to keep up with. And I don't want to say too many titles because I feel like WWE has a lot of titles, honestly, but at least all their titles are in the same company. I'm gonna need New Japan to take their title back.
You just gotta take it and go. Take it and go.
just
take it and go. Fuck on out of here. Just get the fuck on out. You ain't gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
Right.
Geekbox, yeah, we'll talk about that, my guy. I appreciate that. Yeah, and yes, it was Agent Smith. Thank you, but yeah, no, we'll be in touch. Our people will get in touch with your people. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. Jake, what up? Jeff Jarrett over Danielson. Let's go. Richard saying Keisha are still hurt, so their dad is still. Oh, I was interrupting a conversation. Yeah, I'm going with Tetsuya Naito to win this for similar but different reasons. New Japan is just fuck off with your shit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of you and I'm sick of him and all of that. And now, granted, they've added the stipulation to it peripherally of if Moxley wins, Naito will give his G1 spot to Moxley. I don't think that's going to be relevant, and I think it's interesting that the New Japan champion might be in the tournament that qualifies to challenge for the New Japan champion. But that's neither here nor there, because it would happen either way, which is weird. But I think Naito wins this because New Japan's. I'm sick of the way you presented my championship. I'm sick of this. We're going. I think this is their way of dialing back and pulling away from the partnership with AEW and internal focus.
Yeah, I kind of see that happening. To be very, very outspoken and basically saying so many words, I don't like how our title is being presented on AEW television. I think you can't interpret that any different. Like literally,
There's no
they don't like
interpreter needed.
there's no interpretation needed. They don't like it, so let's take it back.
I was gonna say I can do a gesture that for anyone watching will get anyone listening. Sorry, maybe you should be watching, but yeah, that I think New Japan's kind of doing here that can't be misinterpreted. Of they 100% we're taking our title back. You're having talent that have even gotten vocal. Of I like how we have to qualify for a match to take on their title, but for us it's just or for our title it's just whatever. So I think this is why this might be a New Japan heavy win show show that night. It's going to be very much New Japan might be kind of severing ties slightly.
And you actually answered my next question because I was going to ask, like, do you think this Forbidden Door is the end of seeing New Japan talent? But I think you just kind of answered it where you said you think it's going to be severed to an extent.
I think we're going to see less and less, if any, and especially because they've gotten cherry picked as far as talent. Think about it. Okada, former New Japan, now AW. Osprey, former New Japan, now AW. They've gotten cherry picked and picked to pieces here from AW. And now AW's leading into CMLL, AAA, Stardom. I think they both realize that this partnership isn't working out. So I think both sides are mutually kind of backing out as respectfully as they can.
And honestly, I could see a reason for them backing out potentially because maybe Nick Khan in WWE is knocking on that door to maybe do a partnership. And I feel like TNA and WWE's partnership right now is the guinea pig, the trial run to see how well it goes, so they can open up the door to maybe a New Japan, to maybe the other independent promotions that they've actually been in contact with.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Respectfully, TNA is the training wheels. I'll
yeah.
say that as politely as I can. They're the training wheels
Oh
before
yeah,
we
and
take the shit off road.
I don't think that's a bad comparison because I really think that's what it is. Let's see how this works out. Let's see how the fans connect on both ends before we kind of move head on with this. And that's why I don't really feel like it's a bad thing that it's TNA versus NXT or TNA and NXT, because I feel like a lot of people are saying it's like the main roster of TNA versus the developmental talent. But I feel like this is the trial run, and then eventually we'll see people like Moose and maybe Josh Alexander head up to the main roster. That's what I'm thinking down the line.
Right. And I will say this respectfully.
Mhm.
They're closer to even footing than say if you put SmackDown versus TNA.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Respectfully, yeah, I think you're definitely right there, especially with the similar audience, the similar style of how it's taped, smaller crowds, all of that. Yeah, absolutely.
But Moxley's gonna bleed. My prediction, he's pre-bleed. Hangman winning the whole thing, joining the Elite, but he was fired by them. So why is he going to turn heel after he just got turned babyface? After he's been a babyface, actually, what the fuck am I saying?
Right.
I think Mox will just come out bleeding.
Hmm.
Could be. Damien saying Gabe Kidd should dethrone Moxley, not Naito. No, he'll dethrone Naito on an actual New Japan show because
Right.
this is the same man that said not the least offensive thing about WWE, but then also was saying if you're a nerd that lives in such and such basements and etc., go and watch AEW. He did the fucking Suge Knight interview there. So Gabe Kidd's, I think, ride or die in New Japan, and actually you're seeing that with, like I said, with Jeff Cobb earlier. You're seeing actual talent that's like kind of fuck this deal. Like this is not helping us, and
Right.
it's kind of just fucking us over. So I ain't gonna go over there and do that. So you might be running out of dance partners, even.
Exactly.
New Japan can't send guys because they won't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that could be the case as well.
Uh Adam saying in Japan, historically, whenever New Japan has had another partnership with another promotion and has always been to their benefit, yeah, they do cross promotion slash with lesser promotions. Like they recently just added, they like merged with Stardom, so they actually have a halfway women's division, or Stardom's their women's division. But now that the shoe's on the other foot, yeah, now they don't like it. They don't like it. KJ, he's alive. He's
Yeah.
stuck in 1985, but the dog's alive. KJ is here from the upside down. Yeah, he's 11 out there. This is Stranger Things.
Right.
Kevin, what up? Is Jeff Cobb one of those dudes in 2 months? Oh God, moving on. But so you took Naito for X reason. I took Naito for Y reason. I think we
Yeah.
all both kind of take Naito here. I wouldn't be fully surprised if Moxley wins. It'd be interesting. He's familiar with New Japan. It'd be same old guard. I was really hoping for like Jeff Cobb versus Claudio on this fucking card for the TV title, and you could have had Claudio do like a Japanese tour and everything, do a tour in New Japan. I
Yeah.
think it would have been really fucking cool. But instead, we got him with the goddamn learning tree.
Uh,
But we are down to the main event
the
of
final-
Swerve Strickland versus William Osprey for the AEW World Championship.
I feel
Is
so
this a
bad.
layup?
I feel so bad for Swerve because this is obviously going to Osprey.
Oh,
Yeah.
do tell.
I feel like Osprey walks in all in as AEW World Champ.
Really?
Yeah.
Versus
I don't know versus who. I can't think that far because their stories go 1 week to 1 week and they're not
right.
continuous. But
Yeah, I was of the sound. I was of the mindset that this would have been the all-in match you do. Like, I'm surprised we get this here.
Right, and
this
that's
is one of those that should have been the all-in. I had this from the moment Swerve won the title. I was like, this is your match at all-in.
And that was my thought process. I really thought this was going to happen at All In, but it's not. And I feel like it's bad because I feel like both competitors can't take a loss. I think Will Ospreay is undefeated since he, signed with AEW. Swerve Strickland is the champion with a terrible reign. And I feel like you lose here, this goes down as being worse than, which I don't mind Adam Page's reign as AEW champion, maybe because I'm a huge fan of him, but it goes down worse than Adam Page's, championship reign. If he loses here, if Osprey loses here, then you get the people that say Osprey is buried, right? So
fuck them.
And I'm just going off of the IWC's.
Yeah, they're 5%. Fuck them.
Right.
Fuck them.
But I feel like if Osprey loses, I don't want to say like it's he's being booked poorly. I feel like if Osprey loses, it's a bad decision. But I also feel like if Swerve loses, it's a bad decision. I feel like the only way you get out of this is if somebody like MJF comes in and just crashes the match.
That's
close to the end. But that's terrible,
bro.
But that's terrible as well.
I
feel like they booked themselves in the corner.
That is a 2-pack of ass. That is trash.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I feel like they've just booked themselves in a corner, and this match should have been saved for All In. And I'm not one of those people who is like, this match should have been or this, but really, I think this was what everybody thought. Like, this match was happening in his home country so he can win the title. And I think this
And
is
that
just
would have made more sense.
right. So I honestly, I just feel like here Swerve loses, and I don't like that either.
I'll take Swerve. I thought this was the layup of Swerve wins because, I mean, even though this man's been kneecapped and everything, it's just, and now, like I even said earlier, of you could get potentially, if Osprey wins here, you get Osprey versus Danielson, or somebody, it might have been MDB was saying, like, you get a triple threat, or you get a fatal four-way. You start adding more people, all of the people in the main event. But that's weak booking when you've got to add fucking 17 people in the fucking main event because you can't figure out a fucking storyline. This needs to be Swerve. Swerve needs something. He's
I
gotten.
hope so.
I've
I
said
hope so,
this, and
man.
I want to know how you in the chat feel about this. I feel like they're really comfortable with Swerve being champion. They're not really comfortable with him being in the main event.
That makes sense.
That's
I agree
it's a
there.
really shit thing to say about somebody because I think this man was your top tier talent. He was the guy that was your go-to draw when MJF wasn't here. Even when Osprey wasn't here. And now he starts the show. He's in a eliminator match. That means fucking all. He's out here in a tag match.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like this all went downhill when Osprey won that Continental title. Like as soon as he won it, I was like, why?
Right.
Aren't we building him up to win the world title at All In, right? I'm with you. I'm with you, Nick. I want Swerve to win, but I just don't know. I don't think it's happening.
Can we all? That's fair enough. And I mean, I don't even know how I'm going to feel when that happens, if it happens. But I will put my money right now. Win, lose, or draw, this will be the match of the night because this is two fantastic talents. This is, again, this is at the end of the day what Forbidden Door is about. Now, this would have been really cool if this was like 2 years ago when Osprey was New Japan and you actually had this cross-promotional tie instead of this is just a regular AEW pay-per-view match. But this will be match of the night. Swerve Strickland versus Will Osprey will get all of the 17 stars from Dave Meltzer as he's cuddling both his Brian Alvarez body pillow and his Tony Khan body pillow. Some they might have stains on them, but we cannot confirm nor deny what those stains are. But this is good to me going to be the match of the night of Osprey versus Swerve. And I hadn't even really thought. I thought it was going to be a layup of everybody's thinking Swerve's winning this, but you present a valid case for Osprey wins.
Yeah, I'm going to be shocked if Swerve wins. I really am. Like,
really?
And I would be happy. I'll be happy shocked, right? But to me, there's no other way you book this other than it being a terrible interference for them to just end this match, or it can go to a potentially a no contest where they just beat each other so bad where like
you get a Maxwell Jacob Friedman or anything like that.
I feel, and I feel like if you have MJF come in and interfere, it'd be terrible booking either too.
Fair enough.
So if I was booking it, I would really have maybe it end in a no contest where they just went so far, like the time limit thing. Most of AEW's matches have a time limit and they don't make the time limit. And then they have to run this back.
A no contest in the main event from Richard Martinez. That's in bold strategy, Cotton. Bold strategy. We'll see how it works out. If you do that as the last show that ends Forbidden Door, you're going to get people throwing trash just out of principle of just, what is this rubbish? What is this haberdashery?
I mean, true. It's just, I just don't, I don't feel like there's a logical way for Swerve to win. I I just don't. I don't feel
Well,
like there's a logical way for Swerve
so
to
that's
beat.
fine.
I
Well,
don't think he
and
beats Osprey clean.
that's fine. Well, and even the question is, does that even main event? You could have Moxley versus Naito main event.
That's true.
KJ from the Great Beyond saying William for the W. I was going to say, speaking of a man who's melted in on his pillow, KJ taking William for the win. Yeah, boo this man, boo this man. But so that is the 13 matches, my guy.
That we
Oh,
went through all 13.
right. But I have a Brucey bonus question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we see any surprise returns? And if so, who? I almost feel like I want to rattle off some names and or at least one or two and see how you feel, how the chat feels if we see them or if we see them soon in AEW.
Yeah, go ahead because I can't know. I don't really know who's injured other than Britt Baker. So
Well, honestly, actually, I wasn't even going to include her, but we can talk about Britt Baker because Tony brought her up.
right,
I will, and still, Jamie Hayter, who literally I'm still as a Hayter fan, as sipping that Haterade. I'm at this point. She's been on the sideline so long, I'm beginning to forget her name. Like this man, she's just been out there, just in the
yeah.
mythos. Like, what happened? Did she cease to be? But do we see a Britt Baker? Do we see a Jamie Hayter return at Forbidden Door?
I would probably put Jamie Hayter over Britt Baker because she's been gone so long, right? I think she's been gone longer than Britt Baker, right? Or is it the reverse?
Jamie Hayter's been gone much longer than Britt Baker has. I personally, fuck.
I think you for me, I would say Britt Baker is a big enough star to say for All Out. I mean, All In.
No, because I know where we're gonna go with All In now. Because now that I'm thinking about it in my head, of we'll do Tony wins over Mina, and then we'll do Britt Baker comes out, and we'll set up Britt Baker versus Tony Storm at All In, which will be interesting. But that'll be what we'll set up if Britt Baker shows up.
If Britt Baker shows up, yeah,
Right. I'll say that as, excuse me, the caveat. As KJ from the Great Beyond again. It's almost like he's here, like how I can hear him so much. Mox versus Nito. I like how it's Nito instead of Naito. As main event would be a slap in the face to fans and wrestlers involved. I think it's New Japan just using their, anti-choppy PP energy of we're going to put our shit on the table and we're backing out of this and we're going to end up of our shit's going over at the end of the day, my dog. I think there is the potential. There is the potential that this is the last Forbidden Door that New Japan's really involved in.
I mean, there's no disagreement there for me. I really think this might be the end of their partnership.
There you go. Where Camille at?
Did she even sign?
She alleged that she signed, and then she's been out there on the peripheral. Same thing with like Motor City Machine Guns, who there's the potential we could maybe see them Money in the Bank, what have you. They might end up in another 3-letter promotion.
I was just about to say that, like, honestly, I feel like the rumors of Motor City Machine Guns ever going to AEW was fabricated. You heard it first on the Wrestling for Life Network. I don't think they were ever going to. I honestly feel like they're taking the Jordan Grace thing and taking some time off, and then the next thing you know, they show up at Slammiversary or Bound for Glory. That's honestly what
Take it from the TNA diehard folks, 100%. No allegiance or anything like that involved.
And then one thing somebody pointed out, and I know we're heading close to the end, but one thing somebody pointed out on social media was that if they had signed with AEW, it was probably okay for him to hold the Wrestling Revolver World Champion on, being signed to AEW, but being signed to WWE as of right now, that's still kind of a no-no. So maybe they potentially have signed with WWE. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. That's
No, we've
that's not
talked
my
about that
theory. That is
with
what
Alex
somebody.
Shelley dropping the revolver belt of you don't need to do that if you're going to AEW because
Right.
clearly we got a whole fucking show we're talking about on cross promotions. So what are we talking about here if you got to drop a title to sign with AEW? But you might have to do that if you're signing with another company. So
Exactly. Not my thought process. I just saw somebody say it on Twitter, and I was like, "That's a legitimate thought." So,
just point ahead, look smart.
right.
KJ Legend is always around. Yeah, MVP. That's weird because I read that in KJ's voice too. Yeah, absolutely. Trust me. It's almost like he's still here amongst us. He's still with us.
Right.
If we all Scooby Dooby Doo and hit that like button for Wendy Chu, we can bring back KJ. KJ and Anthony's Shane McMahon debut this Sunday. Oh, you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me. Nick, who does Mercedes face at all? And that's a good question. Well, that requires me to A, give a shit about Mercedes, and B, the TBS title. Yeah, fucking natty. I'll say that. I don't know. Trying to predict their women's division right now is
Trying to predict anything they do is
throwing a dart at a fucking
yeah.
semi that's rolling by.
Right.
But so there, we'll go with that. Now, so grand all be all. Last question for at least when it comes to Forbidden Door. Do we think we see Shane McMahon in AEW?
Unless they can put something together very, very quickly, it seems like Tony Khan has not even been in contact with Shane McMahon from what he's said today. So I would personally say no at this time if nothing is put together by Sunday. So I would say no.
Some people just want to watch the world burn, Mr. Lane. I've thought about the idea of Shane McMahon's the wild card. Of just he's just dad. He goes full like just he fits perfectly to like I'm saying I don't know Shane personally, but spiteful son that didn't get the business pairs up with spiteful son that got the business. So you have two billionaire playboys out there, two billionaire sons together that both think they know wrestling, and you get Shane McMahon and Tony Khan together. It's a match made in heaven, my guy, or
I
hell,
guess so,
or in a septic tank. I can just see it just for just the holy shit of that's the thing is I'm just wondering, does Tony, I'll phrase it as this, does Tony have a holy shit card tucked up his sleeve or anything or something he thinks is a holy shit card? Like, do we at least get something? He needs to, we're on shakily legs out here. We need to give something here.
Yeah, if he has something up his sleeve, it's something that he thinks is good. I'm not gonna say the wrestling world is gonna think it's good. He's gonna think it's good. Honestly, I'm sorry, y'all, but I don't give a crap about Shane McMahon showing up in WWE, AEW, TNA, or anything. So it really doesn't bother me. I don't.
You don't think it would be insane that there's a McMahon on AEW?
No. I said this, I think the last stream where I said if Shane McMahon shows up on AEW television and pops the ratings, that proves that they need a McMahon running the show. I said that last stream. They need a McMahon.
Well, we've talked about how they need fucking Big Bang. What are we out here? We're not debating even. That's a gimme. That's a layup. Like at this point, they need a response. Is one of those you see Howdy shows up on WWE. Mm-hmm. We have that whole segment. We have Joe Hendry show up. We have Jacob Fatu, and we have Jacob Fatu followed by a 502 from AEW. So it's one of those at this point. It's like Tony, fight back. But
I guess for me, it's like, do we even need a response? Because it's like WWE is firing on.
We don't need one, but they'll give us one. I see what you're saying. If they stayed in their lane, they'd be better, but they'll give us a response.
Right. I mean, they'll give us a response, but it's going to be terrible. And if it's Shane McMahon, I don't think that's any better than what WWE is doing right now. That's just me personally. I'm just saying.
Shane and AEW would be cool for about an hour.
Now you
Yes,
give me
Anthony,
Stephanie
Shane would be a pop on AEW, but 2 weeks later he'd be jobbing out to someone in quads
versus.
versus quads. Him versus Kevin Nash, and whose quads tear first.
Now, if
But
you
then
want to
again,
talk
Kevin
about
Nash ain't showing up for that.
if you want to talk about a McMahon that would actually get me to pop that they're on AEW television, give me Stephanie. Now, I would pop.
Oh, no shit. Like, that's like saying if Shad Khan showed up on WWE.
Right. But for
Yeah, that's a
Shane,
no
it's
shit
like,
argument. Now, if you would have said Linda, if Linda McMahon showed up on AEW and you said that's what popped you, I'd go with you there. Thinking Stephanie showed up there, then the worlds collide of we're just gonna get that. That's literally like apocalyptic situation here. The end is nigh. The end is nigh. Time to run away. Because
right.
could we ever see? Could you ever see? Could the chat ever see? Could we ever see a cross promotional pay-per-view to where we get a true forbidden door of essentially it is say a WWE in AEW. We almost halfway got it with the invasion of WWE and WCW, but they weren't active companies at the same time at that point. So could you ever see in your mind's eye of an AEW v WWE pay-per-view?
No.
Fair.
I could never see it.
Valid.
I
don't know how to rebuttal. I wasn't prepared for that response.
I think Tony Khan is too, and I'm about to say this about both companies. I think Tony Khan is too high on his bridges to come down to partner with WWE, and I feel the same way for WWE. I don't think it'll ever happen unless it's negotiated by Nick Khan with Triple H not being involved.
We get some con on con action,
right?
But so I will ask this question. We haven't talked about this surprisingly yet. Before we bow out for the evening and everything, of somebody who could show up even on a Sunday, someone who could show up at any promotion at any time and anywhere, because within less than 24 hours, they'll officially be a free agent. Dominic Dijakovic. Jesus H. Christ. I was that sentimental. I fucked up the man's name. Dijak. The Dijakinator. Yeah, you're going to do it. The Dijakinator is officially a free agent. Come 6/28/2024 is a free agent.
If he shows up anywhere, I feel like it would be TNA, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a TNA guy. I feel like
just
he
a
will
lot
work.
of it.
I feel like he would work perfectly in TNA. Honestly, if he
worked perfectly anywhere,
he would work perfectly anywhere. I feel like if at this point, if anybody goes to AEW, they're hot for a moment and then they disappear. And I feel like TNA does a great job of rotating their talent. You're always seeing them in some type of segment, if not a match. And I feel like if this is where a lot of the times if someone wants to shine, they always go to TNA, get their moment of glory, and then they eventually find themselves back in the WWE fold. And I feel like that's perfect for Dijak. I don't see him going anywhere else. He can run the indie scene. And make a name for himself there as well.
There's the potential. We could get Shane Thorne, Mace, Mustafa Ali, and Dijak. We could recreate Retribution on the independent scene right now.
Right. That is true.
What up? Yeah. Jim Carney. Oh, you guys can barely be heard until screaming. I guess I'll ask anybody out there, is anyone like Jim and can't hear us unless we're screaming? Apparently, unless he needs to turn up his volume. I can get loud. You sound fine on my end. Exactly. I'm very surprised with this whole thing with Dijak. I've been very adamant of, I'm a Dijakinator. Yeah. Even when he was Dominic Dijakovic, when he was out there having banger matches with Keith Lee, all of that, the guy was having arguably one of, if not the best match on every pretty much PLE or any NXT pay-per-view that they were putting him on or anything like that. I would have liked him versus Trick if he would have stayed down there. The not televising him getting drafted was weird. But I thought, okay, they might actually use him because I thought he was over. He's super talented. He had a halfway decent gimmick. I've seen people even pitch that you could have had him be like Pierce's security guard, what have you. That there was a ton of potential there, and to see even now, granted, this is what he said, of to where that they didn't even try and negotiate a contract with him, that they didn't want to hear nothing, that they had pretty much decided of already, we're not going to renew you, which again to me is a little weird. Do you think that there's people out there that think that this is all kayfabe still?
I don't think it's kayfabe. I think we're at the point of social media and wrestlers expressing their feelings for it not to be kayfabe. I don't think this is kayfabe. This is legit. And I think that's the part of the IWC that annoys me, because it's like, oh, it's a work, or oh no, it's real, or whatever the case may be. I really feel like this is legit, and he's a free agent tomorrow.
I think it was a really nice way for him to kind of let everyone know, because that's the thing is, especially on social media and everything, Dijak had a following. The ratioing from Dijak and everything. The man ratioed both presidential candidates that are out there. I know I almost said cannabis, but I said candidates that are out there, arguing about this, that, and the third. That's the whole thing. Like, this guy was, where was it? Actually, perfectly, I clicked on him with Geekbox of, I'd actually love Dijak to be like Cardona. I think that's what he was on social media and everything like that. He was over. He was one of the best things to me to watching NXT. He was entertaining as shit. He had some of the best matches. He had one of the better matches of WrestleMania weekend. So I think it was a way for him to actually kind of let everybody know, hey, this is what's really up before shit gets twisted, what have you, and still kind of working with him. Like, I've just really become a big fan of the guy, and I feel like this is a prominent fumble from WWE of a guy that you had, that if this is all true, a guy that you had that didn't even exactly need to be a world champion, could have been a mid-card guy, could have been an NXT champion, what have you, had some momentum, had things going, had a character, is super talented in the ring, absolutely shows up and shows out, and is an engaging presence on social media that gained eyes onto your product just from him alone. So I think this is a bit of a fumble if it is literally that they didn't even want to try and negotiate with him. Yes, hashtag Nick loves Dijak. Send that to him. I would love for pause on all of this. I would love for Dijak to ratio my ass. Pause. AJ, I know you're gonna clip that. You can have that. That ain't what I'm mad at. But 100% to me, he's a guy that you had like since he got drafted. Like, Brooks Jensen's had more TV time than Dijak, and it's just his last match in WWE is going to be a fucking speed qualifying match on Twitter for 2.5 minutes.
No, I agree. I mean, to me, when I saw it today, and this is no disrespect to Dijak, like, it really didn't bother me. I did post about it on TikTok. I posted it like his letter, but a lot of the times like with releases nowadays, like, I know they're going to be fine and they're going to find somewhere else to go. I think he did a great job with reinventing himself, doing a lot of good things in WWE, but with his release, it didn't bother me. A lot of times with the releases nowadays, they just don't bother me because it's kind of just how the cookie crumbles and
You're
how
just
the
numb to it at this point.
Yeah, like, I don't even talk about it anymore on any type of social media platform. Like, that was Dijak was like the first one today that I actually like talked about in a very long time. It's like,
but is that saying something that this is a guy that hasn't been on TV in a month or two, a guy that was pretty much just an NXT guy, was coming out of being, out of Retribution, and has built himself up to the point to where people were damn near out here holding wakes for the fact that this man got released from WWE Now, granted, like you said, wherever he lands, I'm sure he'll do fantastic.
Right.
And it'd be really interesting if he showed up Sunday, and it could be a possibility. But yeah, I think it's just a lot of people looking back at what could have been.
No, absolutely. I think I think that it goes both ways. I really do. But for me, at this point, it's like the releases are the releases, and it just happens. The only thing that's literally shocked me about anybody getting released or fired in the past year and a half is Scott Demore. That's literally the only thing that's really got me really upset. But other
Got
than
you
that,
effed up.
like when Dolph Ziggler got fired, okay, I was like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is,
Well,
stuff like
that's
that.
Ziggler's
So I
fault.
mean, and Dijak has did a lot, you know, for his career in WWE, and I feel like I'm being insensitive, but like at this point, like it's just it happens. Like things
It
happen,
is still a
people lose their
business.
job,
Yeah, you're not
you know.
insensitive. It is still a business.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, like even Geekbox said, I wonder if WWE didn't negotiate because they can see the potential in letting him go off and develop his portfolio further before coming. So it's one of those, if they're that confident of we're going to let you go, be a free agent, and we know we'll sign you again. Is this Mercedes Moné of saying how she's going to go back to WWE before she's even showed up on AEW?
I feel like though, I feel like to Geekbox point, I feel like they said something similar to when Drew McIntyre was released. I feel like that was said to for him to go out and hone his craft, and he did. He found that in TNA, then he came back.
Yeah, that
So
was like
but
10,
that
15 years
it
ago.
no, and I get that, but I'm just kind of saying to Geekbox's point, like that could have been said, you know.
Fair enough. Hopefully, Nigel. I like how you're thinking. CMA or MDB is agreeing with C Money, but that does it for the matches for Forbidden Door. That does it for unless you have any other surprises that you think might happen or any talking points you needed to bring up. Sir, I think that might do it for this wonderful Thursday evening. We're damn near 2 hours into this, my guy. Christ,
Right.
we're not even through the length of the pre-show for this pay-per-view.
Exactly. No, I don't have anything else. I think we covered a lot tonight. I didn't even think we were gonna talk about Dijak. I thought we were just gonna kind of hold that until SmackDown tomorrow, but
No, we can talk about it then. We can talk about it now,
right,
and
yeah.
100% because I am a Dijak supporter. I am a Dijak fan. I am a big fan of the Dijakinator. Yeah, we're going to do it. I do the voice before the Dijakinator, and I can't do the voice anymore. You're going to miss the voice. He needs to at least stay because of the voice. Look at what I have for you. Yeah, put that Dijak down. But 100%, folks, yes, we will be back at it like a jackrabbit tomorrow for Friday Night SmackDown. Me and Anthony, we've got the official acknowledgement ceremony. Who might else show up here? We've already had Jacob Fatu, so this will be the first time since his debut we get to see Jacob. All of that. And then Sunday, back at it, 100%. Marathon upon marathons of Forbidden Door. We've got all the matches that we ran through. So 100%, and we're still back at it. We roll right through next week on all the wrestling action. So 100% be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, subscribe. Anthony, any final thoughts, sir? Any final
Everything that
comments?
Nick
Any clicks?
said,
Anything?
everything that Nick said, we will be back tomorrow for SmackDown. I will have a TNA review out. Just quickly want to say I do know about the Jordan Grace Open Challenge that will be happening tomorrow at the tapings. Super excited about that. Might talk about that on Saturday as well on the TNA review, but take it away.
Shit, we'll talk about it on Friday. We'll talk about who's guessing, who's showing up to be
All
the
right.
and everything like that. Anthony Jordan Open Grace. We want the voice. Gonna be at MSG. That's another thing I will say. So we're gonna be in the church of WWE of the McMahonisms and everything with being an MSG if they're doing the small stage, and that's also gonna be the last show of Caleb Braxton. But 100%. Be a friend, tell a friend, like, share, and subscribe. Our shit is real. Our shit is raw. Our shit is authentic. When you talk about that wrestling, you're going to put that full life with it.
Bye.